cut.
Cut. Yeah, there is no cut. You know what's weird too? I noticed this the last time I streamed. There used to be a thing on like my Google Hangouts that told me how many people were watching live, and now
Okay.
I can only use YouTube for that. Like I have to open up a separate thing, which is kind of a pain in the ass.
YouTube, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
They're facking up.
Yep.
They are facking up. Let's see.
Hello there.
Hello, hello there. Gives them like that debonair smile. Let me tell you about my insert product here.
Yeah. Do you have time to speak about the word of the Lord Google?
Our Lord and Savior Google.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once Google took YouTube over, it was like done.
Yeah, yeah.
Shit. Whatever.
Oh, looks like we're live. The feed is live.
We are live. Don't have no one in the chat yet, so we'll give it a minute. If not, we'll just fucking kick it off and
Rock and roll, man.
people can cry about it later. You know what I noticed too? Like the DC Universe app has just been adding way more stuff lately. Like I think they realized that honestly, like I don't think in the beginning it was really worth it.
Mhm.
I did it because I'm a huge fan and I do this stuff. Like, but they've been adding like some big comic book stories,
Yeah,
like well-known ones, some
I
like
agree with you.
gems, and like more like animated shows and stuff.
Hmm.
Like they're finally making it worth it. And they were wondering, like, because I guess the initial subscriber sign up like wasn't cutting for like how much they were spending on like Titans and
Hmm.
Doom Patrol. I'm like, you have to have a startup investment because
Absolutely.
it's all word of mouth.
You got to put money out first.
It's all word of mouth, you know, like, and like there were very mixed reactions when the streaming service first came out, and like, you know, hopefully now
Yeah.
word of mouth will carry. Like Titans had a solid first season. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad.
The only thing that bothers me about the app is the interface in certain systems. Like for my Alexa, it's crap.
Yeah,
Like for my iPad and my phone, it's a beautiful thing. But
yeah,
to watch Doom Patrol, I had to watch it in my laptop and then mirror with an HDMI cable because otherwise I couldn't do it. And I
yeah,
have a smart TV. I try mirroring that way. Nothing.
yeah. Well, I mean, they before they launched, they were like, yeah, it'll be available for Roku, Fire Stick. It
Mm-hmm.
took them like over a month to make it compatible on Fire Stick and Fire TV, and
Yep.
even then, like it has its problems. Like sometimes
It's horrible. It's horrible, dude.
you know, like
Yeah, so that's how I had to watch it. I mean, I'm good with it. It's just the one thing that I wish they were better at. I'm hoping they will. I mean, you can expect them to be Netflix. You
yeah.
can't expect like boom, 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 boom.
No,
No,
of course not. But like
but I mean, just
they're charging like, you know, $7-8 a month. Like you got to deliver.
exactly. But I honestly, dude, I have high hopes. I see a bright future. When Netflix started, I don't know if you remember when they first started the streaming picture.
Mhm.
When you had a PS3, because that was my first like device that I had that I could stream it in.
Mhm.
They didn't even have like an app. They would send you a disc, which was called a streaming disc. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're familiar with it, but you would put the disc in the system, and then the disc would be read by the PS3, and that's how you would access the Netflix library. And I don't know, you probably remember, it was just the white background, the red thing at the bottom, and then the titles right next to each other, and then you would just scroll over.
See,
So
I never had it. Like like
okay,
when Netflix first came out, like I was young. Like
okay,
I mean, it's funny because every time like I bring this up to people like I collaborate with, they're always kind of surprised. Like I'm only 21.
I forgot that too. I'm
So
sorry.
like I was a kid when Netflix
Yeah.
came out, and like mind you, like I grew up with a Portuguese mom. She was cheap as hell. So like that was just not a thing that we did, you know. My mom wasn't
Right.
about spending that money. But what's funny too in the chat, Landrew, I'm having the same issue with the app on my Fire Stick. I click it and it goes black screen, so I have to use my laptop and HDMI to
Yep.
watch everything.
Landrew, that was my issue exactly. Same exact issue. I click on something and then it just says DC and it's like buffering with nothing. I had to do the laptop as well.
See, I've been able to watch it on my Fire Stick, or I have the Fire Box or whatever the hell it is.
Oh,
I've
the
been able
Cube?
to watch it. Huh?
You have the Cube or the Fire TV box? Which one?
The Fire TV box.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's all good. But yeah, I use that, and like sometimes it does give me problems. Like if I go to sometimes when a video ends, like if I don't exit out, like it'll just go brown or blue. And sometimes when I go to turn it on, it'll go blue. It's gotten a little bit better. Overall, I've been able to watch stuff on it though
Got it.
successfully, and I've been able to read some comics on it. Which, like, just saying, reading comics on a 50-something inch TV is spectacular.
Yeah, I agree. It was awesome. I was reading a few Green Lantern comic books there, and actually a few Doom Patrols as well. Because believe it or not, my Doom Patrol fandom is not as big as before I found out that the show was coming out. So I
Oh yeah,
started to find out a little bit about it,
yeah.
and I saw mentions here and there. But honestly, like I wish I could tell you that I know everything about them. I do not.
No, I don't either. It's like
Yeah.
for me, it's I've read part of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
it. So and what's great is I think a good part of it's on the app right now. So
Yep.
I'm definitely
Yep.
gonna recommend like give that as recommended reading to anyone who's watching this.
Yep.
But we've been chatting a bit. We have at least one or two people checking us out right now. So
What's up, people?
we'll kick this bad boy off. So, hey guys, welcome to the 20th episode of Let's Talk Comics, where myself and another member in the comics community discuss one of the many facets of the storytelling medium, whether it be stories, creators, constructs, adaptations, or really anything else. We hit it all. This week, we have a returning guest and my friend, my pal, fellow collaborator, Lewis from the Geek Fortress. It's awesome to have you on, man, as always. So glad you could make it with us tonight.
Dude, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. You know, we always have a blast. Let's get this ball rolling, man. Let's get this game started. I'm ready, man. I had like 2 Red Bull before. I'm good to go. No, I'm kidding. I don't. I didn't really have Red Bull, but just I'm excited about this. So let's
Yeah,
do.
man. I feel you. I'm fresh off of work, so I'm ready to get this moving. So just to address in the chat, Silver Batman Ranger saying what's up, and Koala One saying hey man, or hey guys, both of you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
What's up?
We'll kind of get into it. As you guys know, usually like in these episodes of Let's Talk Comics, I'm not gonna like go overboard in this, but I usually give a poll of the week, like a comic book from this week that I either read or am really anticipating. Let me tell you guys something real quick. So back in like 2006, there was a title called Superman Confidential, and there was a Batman Confidential title where various creative teams would hop on that book and tell like one-shot stories for those characters. And Marv Wolfman, who is the creator of Deathstroke, one of the biggest pioneers of the Teen Titans, that being the new Teen Titans, wrote a Superman story in it with artist Claudio Castellini. And it never got published. Wolfman pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And this past week, DC finally published this 13-year-old story as a 100-page giant. And let me tell you, it is one of the best things I have ever read from Marv Wolfman. Like,
Ooh.
mind you guys, this guy's a legend. Like, he's done some big stuff. Like, in his old age, he's written some not so great stuff. But I cannot recommend it enough. This is his take, and the beautiful thing is, it is just as much about the man as it is Superman. It is Clark's early days in Metropolis, and I know you probably see origin stories everywhere, but it's not an origin story. It's just
I'm ordering that right now. Didn't know that came out.
It's Clark's early days in Metropolis, and it's Clark kind of trying to juggle becoming something that he's not, right? Because he's just a city boy from Kansas, from Smallville, Kansas. The art is beautiful. Claudio Castellini kills it. I mean, obviously the cover is by Castellini, but like beside that, like beautifully, beautifully done. It's well bound. It's a $9.99 100-page book. It's totally worth it. I can't recommend it enough. If you're a new Superman fan and you want to kind of just find something that's accessible to you, this is spectacular. If you're an old school Superman fan and just want a good read, I can't recommend it enough. I thought it was I thought it was incredibly, incredibly good. Far better than I thought it had any right being. So if you guys are interested, please go down to your local comic book store if you can and check this book out.
I mean, you convinced me.
I don't know, Lewis, are there any books that you've been reading lately? Like anytime?
Nothing new, to be honest with you, but I had a conversation recently with somebody about Superman stories and what to get into and how to start reading it. And I've actually been rereading Superman Earth One just because
Okay.
it's such a nice fresh take on the story. And I enjoy it, And I was just reading through it, and I think I devoured the first comic book, the first trade, and I was just like, okay, this is awesome. It's sometimes
Yeah.
at night I just like pick something up and I'm like, let me read again this arc or let me read this story again. It just comes to my mind, and I'm like, I'm gonna read it. And also, I was rereading Superman Red Sun because hello,
Oh
classic.
yeah.
Yeah, but nothing really new. To be honest with you, I've been kind of like in a gap with spending money, so having to cut out a lot of comic books, which sucks.
Yeah, man.
But
Life happens. It's all
yeah, dude. But I'm gonna get back to the flow. Don't worry, I'm gonna
yeah.
get back.
Speaking of Earth One, I've read Earth One titles, but this is my first time owning an Earth One book. My
Green
sponsor, Aegis Comics,
Lantern,
out. Link in the
nice.
description below, of course. Or go follow them on Twitter, also in the description. Give them a follow. They're awesome people. They gave me a hardcover copy of Green Lantern Earth One, which I've heard nothing but spectacular things about.
Yep,
So
yep.
I'm super excited to read this. But yeah, like on top of Earth One, I feel like I would mention. I'm
No,
really
that is a great read. I own that one as well, and it is fantastic. The new take on Hal Jordan is really good.
I'm
It's
excited.
it's a different approach than one you're used to, but I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. I've heard nothing but great things. Also, too, if you're like looking for a current comic,
Hmm.
Detective Comics from 994 on, it's been
Okay.
written by Peter Tomasi, art by
Okay.
Doug. I shit you not, some of the best Batman like in continuity I've read in years. It's so good, and it's the lead up to Detective Comics 1000 that's going to be coming out in March. Dude, I can't. If you're looking for something to read and you want something good, and
Hmm.
like I will ream a Batman story if it's not good.
Yeah,
This
you would.
is spectacular. So that goes for all of you guys out there watching. Detective Comics 1000, the monumental issue, comes out at the end of March. I can't recommend enough that you pick up from 994 on because this A is the lead up, B is just plain spectacular, and C, you guys know we got to support good stories. So
Yes.
support the stories. Go to your local comic book store if you can to pick them up. If not, just get your hands on them because they're great. Um, but with all that out of the way, let's get into this. So, obviously, according to the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about the pilot episode to Doom Patrol #1 from the DC Universe app. It is exclusive to the app, which is great. So, we're finally getting a little bit more bang for our buck as subscribers. And, what's interesting is they kind of did, and we've talked about this before, Lewis, on how they kind of had a backdoor pilot via
Yep.
Titans. And what I think is spectacular, just going off the rip about this pilot episode, was it didn't feel unnecessary after getting that in Titans. Having watched both of them, I was like,
Hmm.
wow, like we're on a very surface level, like going over what we learned there, but just going deeper. You
I
know,
agree. I
like
agree. It's funny because like I was mentioning before, the timeline confused me a little, but you clarify what had happened with the new casting of Timothy Dalton as the chief. So that's what had confused me. But I can tell you honestly that even without the backdoor pilot, I would have been okay.
yeah,
And it stood so well on its own. Um, it- one thing it's me telling you, the other one is that you actually watch it. It was just so organic, the way they introduced the characters and everything. I loved it. I
uh,
loved it altogether.
yeah, I agree. So one thing, I guess we can just start off because we were kind of going in that direction, giving our general thoughts on the episode without going spoilery.
Sounds good.
And of course, you being the guest, man, I want to know what you thought. What are your overall thoughts on this pilot episode?
Overall, if I had to just summarize it, I felt like it was too short. Before I knew it, it was done. So that's a good thing though, because you were so into it.
Hmm.
I love the casting. I love the colors. The cinematography was beautiful. The way they do scene transitions. I'm like a cinema geek, so I look at that stuff a lot.
Right.
Also, I love Brendan Fraser, man. The way he portrayed. Oh man, it hurt so many times. I'm not gonna get into detail, but it hurt. You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about.
It
It hurt so many
it
times.
was so good. Honestly, like the breakout star for me, who apparently is huge. I've never seen, and again, I don't watch all of those like like Orange is the New Black and all those wild trendy shows.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But Diane Guerrero is Crazy Jane.
Yep.
She was spectacular. Like, not only are you playing one character, Crazy Jane has what was it, like 64 personalities?
About 64. Yep.
Like that, and we see like four of them in the first episode alone. And it's like,
Yep.
wow, like her chops are incredible. This woman can act.
Yep,
Um,
I like her a lot. I mean, I've seen her in Orange is the New Black, and I've seen that she can just put on any character that she wishes to. So seeing her in this one was definitely a different setting. It was
yeah.
weird. At first, I was just like, holy crap, that's
But like
Maritza from Orange is the New Black. And then I just
overall,
forgot about it. I was like, no, she's Crazy Jane.
yeah, and it's like, let it be said too that like the entire cast was great.
Oh yeah,
And for these two in particular, I think to make us take notice just says how phenomenal they are in addition to that, because the chemistry between the whole cast was fantastic. Because not only are you trying to balance this really kind of niche tone in the Doom Patrol and these niche characters with these wild backstories, but also implement, wants and desires that are deeply human. And we get all of that. Like the actors do an excellent job, in their singular moments, but also as an ensemble.
they do. The cast works so well together, and it's so funny because I was actually thinking this while I was watching it. A lot of them are just bodies there because they add the voices later. You know,
Mhm.
like Brendan Fraser. I don't think he's the one in the suit, and neither is Matt Boomer. I don't think he's in the suit either.
I know Brendan Fraser is definitely not. I think
Yeah,
the
I'm not sure
stand-in,
about, but yeah, I'm not really sure. But it's so organic, you couldn't even tell. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
yeah.
Like they make it work in such a way. Like it's one of the best examples I can give you is April Bowley or Bowley. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing her name as Elastigirl. I think she was really good. I think she didn't get enough story, in my opinion. I want to see more of her.
Mhm.
Her story because she was a bitch. And
Yeah.
then she's like paying for it.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's not a good character.
yeah,
She's not a good
exactly,
character at all. You know,
exactly.
I mean, we get further into each and every one of these characters and their downfalls, as people, and what is remotely redeeming about them, and how kind of tragic all of these characters are, and
Yeah,
what they've become. But yeah, the casting I think is incredible,
yeah.
and
It
you know
was
what, like
beautiful.
nods off. Again, I'm a neglectful piece of shit. I don't know who the screenwriters were, or I think there's Jeff Johns. I'm pretty sure is the showrunner, maybe along with
Yeah.
Goldsmith again. But Jeff Johns, man, and the writing room did a spectacular job on the dialogue, because I feel like with something as wild and crazy as the concept of the Doom Patrol is, it would be way too easy to either reel it in too much or go too far and make it seem too much. But it just felt organic. It felt like it belonged. And frankly, they it accomplished both like comedy, lightheartedness, and tragedy. You know, it this show is all about that contrast, and I
Hmm.
think pretty much in every way possible, they've accomplished that with the utmost authenticity.
I agree. I agree. It's. I mean, you would think that it's simple. Grab a comic book, turn it into a show, but it takes so much. And they got it all right. That's the best way I can explain it.
Mhm.
One of the things that I really enjoy is that even though you cannot see Negative Man's face and stuff, it's almost like you can see his reactions. You can see like how he's feeling. You can see everything. It's pretty cool the way
Yeah,
that they did it. Um,
absolutely.
I was a little disappointed there was no cyborg yet. I was kind of looking forward to that,
Well,
but
he's gonna be like this show's Beast Boy.
yeah,
It's gonna be like
yeah,
second, third
exactly.
episode reveal, and it's gonna be like, oh, the one of the characters that everybody knows about.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
but
That's definitely what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we also
But
briefly, I just wanted to note the some chatter in the chat section here. Oh, hi there, Somoki dude. Hey man, thanks for joining us tonight. And he also asks, he wonders if they'll pull from Morrison's run. They have to. They absolutely have to. In the minds of comic book readers, it was Morrison's run that put the Doom Patrol on the map. So there's no doubt in my mind. And not to mention, like DC Universe put up a good portion of his Doom Patrol run on the what's it called,
on the app,
on the app.
yeah,
So
you can read it there. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and then in all caps from Nerdy Blurb TV, the Geek Fortress.
What's up, nerdy blurb?
Dang, bros, comic book YouTubers Facebook group is lighting up YouTube today. Well, we got to keep it interesting, man.
It's how
But
we
it's
do it, bro. It's
in
how
the
we do
chat.
it. Epic or nothing.
Yeah, big plans, folks, for those watching. Me and Nerdy Blur have got some fun stuff coming up these next couple months, so keep an eye out. And then Koala One, how was Cyborg? I assume got their question answered Aw.
How was Cyborg? Lewis said something. Damn it.
Listen, Koala, don't let it deter you because this episode was fantastic. I almost feel like if we had to squeeze Cyborg in there, it wouldn't have flowed nearly as well. I think that not only was the chemistry good, I think they did a good job of directing the pace and time and what they were doing with going back and forth. So definitely, definitely worth watching. Don't let that deter you.
I agree. I agree. The only reason why I mention it is because I wanna see how he looked, how the character was around them. I was looking forward to that, but patience, it's a virtue. So he'll come. He'll be there. I had the same issue with Beast Boy. If you watch our reviews
I
for
remember. Yeah.
Titans, yeah, you remember that? I
Yep.
was like, "Where's my Beast Boy, man?" I was so mad, but it was worth it. It was worth
Yeah.
the wait. So same thing.
And you had mentioned briefly there the aesthetics. One thing I think let's just go off the bat like Robot Man in
Mhm.
its entirety. I'm pretty sure if somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here. I'm pretty sure it's all practical effects with Robot Man. Like there's somebody wearing a suit, and I think it looks great. Like when they showed like early stills back before Titans, got to that episode, I was like, wow, like this is going to be really easy to mess up. Like it's going to be really easy to mess up. And I watch it and I'm like, wow. Like physically he looks good. Larry Trainer, Negative Man inside the bandages looks great.
I know.
There's
Oh,
no like awkward delay when they're holding dialogue or interacting with other characters.
I know. It's.
And one of the things that this episode addresses actually is Cliff Steele, Robot Man's loss of mobility as a robot. You see that
Mm-hmm.
very directly. It even ties into part of the narrative, you know. So I think it looks great. What about you, man? I know Cyborg is obviously going to be a big thing to look for because you literally will have organic human flesh next to.
I know. I have to agree with you on the practical effects. I loved it. I think it's something that filmmakers, producers have strayed away from because they trust CGI so much
Yep.
that it's
Agreed.
it's so fresh to see it, and the way that they pulled it off was really cool. And then the sound effects that they had when he walked, all of that, that just makes it even better. You
Yep.
know, I really really love that. And maybe with Elastigirl, the CGI felt like at some points was a little but I can get over that completely because I had the same again. Beast Boys, he's my homeboy.
Mhm.
I had the same issue with that, but that's nothing. I mean, the excuse me, DC is doing a great job. Titans, I dare say that this pilot episode was, and I don't know, maybe you might not think so, but was almost better than Titans.
This pilot episode was a lot stronger than Titan's pilot.
Okay, good, good. I'm sure it's not just me. I think that was my first thought, and then the way they ended the episode, I was just like, I need to wait. What the fuck? So
Yeah.
that's good.
No,
That's what a good show does. I
and
love it.
one of the things we talked about briefly before we went live is honestly, this movie felt like the first act to a film. Like
Yep.
it just the pacing was great, the exposition was great, the again the chemistry between the actors and the way they're written is spectacular. Like it was honestly like I think I would have given like the Titans pilot like somewhere between a 7 and an 8. Like I would dare give this closer to a 9. Like I think
Yep.
it was an excellent pilot. Um, and some Okie dude asks, I wonder if they'll put in Danny the Street as well. I guarantee you they will, because if you remember in the Titans episode 4, when essentially the backdoor pilot to Doom Patrol, they mentioned Danny the Street. They mentioned that Doom Mansion is on Danny Street, and if you guys know, Danny the Street can be wherever he wants. So I'm assuming Danny the Street will be wherever the Doom Patrol is. So, I'm sure we'll see it. In long story short, I'm sure we'll see it. So we've gone like, well, let me think here. So we've gone really through our overall thoughts. Let's get into some specifics. What parts for you really just worked?
You took mine, Robot Man. I love how he the time transition. Let's just put it that way, so I can keep it as spoiler free as I can.
Yep.
I love the time transition. It was just great, and then him figuring out what really had happened, or like having the epiphany of what really had happened. Oh man, it was a kick in the heart. To answer your question more directly, the thing that works the best, it's the way they portray the characters. It's so good. Like I don't even think I have enough words. Like I had, you know this, I had my doubts with the Robin character, with the Starfire character in Titans. I had my doubts, even at some points with Beast Boy.
Mm-hmm.
But watching these people in the pilot, I was just like, I'm in, all in, like
Yep.
poker style. Just take it all.
Yeah.
I'm all in. It just worked. It clicked.
No,
It was beautiful.
it
I
was
have no complaints.
very strong, very, very strong first outing. And again, it deals with a lot of really complex, heavy human things for something so quirky and out there, like the main premise of the show. Spoiler, not really. If you have any remote idea of what the Doom Patrol is about exploring desires to be human, or to feel normal, right? And to shed the loneliness that's been cast upon them by not being normal, you know.
Yep.
And it hits it. There were multiple moments in this where, like, that awkward moment, like just before you cry, when you feel something like crawling up your skin, kind of
Mm-hmm.
slowly. That happens so many times. Like I felt for most of these characters, except for Rita. Except for Rita.
Yeah, yeah,
But
dude. When I saw how she was acting toward people, and it's this something my wife pointed out right away before I could even think about it. Her character's walking irony because of the way she was.
well,
She was so
they even
like,
acknowledged it.
yeah,
Without
like
giving spoilers, real quick. Sorry to interrupt. They even acknowledged it before they went out of the manor. You remember that when she was like,
yeah,
your ego won't let you stay."
yeah. You're right. Yeah, I love that. I mean, she was one of those people who was like, and I don't know if she's had character development yet in all those years, to be honest with you.
No.
Because she starts from the 50s, but then she still is like into herself.
Mhm.
Like there's a scene when she goes into a place and then somebody starts talking about her. And then she's like, tell me more. She likes hearing about it. It's because she's upset about it, because she's sad about it, or because she's still full of herself. We don't know yet. So
Right.
she's one of the characters that I'm hoping to see a lot of character development. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's you know, I think that they're going to develop her. I think right now the focus is going to be on Robot Man and Crazy Jane, and I think that they're going to do small little character arcs, for like the pairs of them. And I think the contrast is great because with I think Crazy Jane, what you can do is literally almost limitless. And I think Cliff Steele, especially what Grant Morrison did with Cliff in his run, that obviously I think is going to apply to this show, is that they're going to take this really overused trope and make it complex, and what I love, and I know for those of you who have watched this, I know Lewis is going to understand it. In regards to Robot Man, there's a bit of misdirection in the beginning, and then they resolve it a little bit.
Yep.
And it's like, I thought that was spectacular. Like some people hate being tricked. I loved it because for me, I didn't feel like it was cheap. I don't feel like it lessened anything. It didn't feel unnecessary either. Like once that kind of resolves, I was like, damn.
I know.
Like you were pulling my heartstring one way, and now you're still pulling it, but in the complete opposite direction.
I know. It's because when you first start watching it, you're like, damn, this guy's an asshole. This guy is a douche.
Yeah.
He deserved what happened to him.
Yeah.
But it's there's more redemption to it than you're led to believe at first. And when you see it go full circle, you're like, that hurts.
Yeah.
That was my reaction, at least.
Yeah, and it just feels so deeply. Again, what I love here is how they're injecting the humanity into these characters, right? Because they want more than anything to be human, and that's what we're going to highlight here, is in the fact in their quest to be human, you figure out that they're no less human than before, their perspective or their respective tragedies, like
Mm-hmm.
they feel, they want, they desire, they They do pretty much everything that we do, at least emotionally. And it's going to be a great way to look at that through the lens of the Doom Patrol, the wacky, the crazy, the quirky, the high concept, and that's what I love about it. And somehow it works. I feel like this shouldn't work, but it works.
It does. It's like the Outcast story. It's I mean we've seen it before, but this one is just so, I don't know. There's something about it that made it just stand out.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it was better than Titans, when Titans was like the first thing they did, and then seeing now Doom Patrol kind of like supersede everything that Titans was, at least in the pilot. I cannot judge after
Dramatic.
that yet. Oh, 100%, dude, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like I remember because just as you did, we watched the pilot and a Comic-Con. Remember the day before New York Comic-Con?
Yep.
And it was like a big reveal. I don't know if it was because I was tired from the day or I don't know, but I couldn't get into it like the first couple of minutes, the first few minutes. But this one grabbed me from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it was not because of the scene they show first. Just to
Yeah.
clarify.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so funny. I saw it and I was like, oh, that kind of show.
Yep.
Bing bong.
Yep.
But no, just in you guys will know what I'm talking about once you watch it. But in general, it just caught me. It was like, you got me. I'm in. And I love it.
Well, for Titans, it really took until that big fight scene with Dick Grayson in the alley. And for me, literally from the credits, from the rolling credits and the intro, and you're getting to see the background, and you're like, oh man, like we're starting to get some flavors and some hints as to what's going to be going on and to who these characters are from the beginning. And then, there's a narrator, and I'm not going to mention who the narrator is because I think if you know Doom Patrol, you're going to be like, wow, like that's you wouldn't expect this character to be the narrator. And then it's going to be a really, really fun ride for you if you don't know. So,
you don't find out. I mean, if you know the voice, you will know. But if you don't, and then you're going to be like, what? Yeah. And then the whole thing with the donkey tripped me at first. And it was like.
Yeah. No, it was excellent. And what I love, there is, and pay close attention to this, guys, because I think that this is a big pull. There are two moments in this episode where Cliff screams for different reasons, and they both signify two of the biggest, most emotional pushes in the entire episode, but they're very different from one another. If you notice that, there's that act of repetition. It's only twice where Cliff screams throughout the manor, and they both mean something very significant. So hopefully you guys can pick that out. If you guys are watching this after you've seen the episode, let me know if you can figure out what those two moments were, what they meant, what they meant for that character, because I think they were huge. They were absolutely huge.
Yeah, I think I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah,
I think I know.
Yeah, you feel it, man. You feel for these characters,
yeah.
And in a show like this, the character dynamics are everything. Obviously, story is huge, but you're already really playing outside the box when you're doing a story like this. So, if you can accomplish a decent story and have such great characters getting to interact and bounce off one another, you got it. You got the formula for success, especially with something like Doom Patrol, because again, I feel like something like this should not work for television or for cinema, and it just does.
Can you imagine just telling somebody, we're going to make a show about this, and this, and then the guy's just like, are you crazy?
Yeah. No, I never would have. I mean, we've said it when and go check this out, guys, on the Geek Fortress channel. We did like back and forth Titans reviews on his channel, and we brought up how ironically, like by far for most of the season, the Doom Patrol episode was the best part, and that was the part I think we were expecting to be lowest quality.
Yeah,
just kind of strung out and done for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. We even mentioned for it being a backdoor pilot, it didn't feel like a backdoor pilot. It felt part of the story, and it felt like at the end, you're like, okay, I'm ready to see more of these people.
I genuinely think Doom Patrol is going to be magic for this app. I think that's what's going to get people to turn heads. Titans did with the whole Starfire hooker costume controversy and the whole fuck Batman thing, which was smart. They needed to get people in. But I think in terms of like just the pure quality, I think and I hope that Doom Patrol is the show to really just knock it up a whole nother level. And I hope that continues to permeate through to shows like Swamp Thing, to be frank, you know.
I
It
agree.
it's spectacular, man. One thing too that I'm curious as to your thoughts. We don't really get much of an insight to the storyline, like what we're going to be doing from here on out, and in terms of the broader scheme of things. We know that we're going to get interactions between these characters. We don't know quite what. We got an idea, and I kind of like that. Like first episode, there's a lot of intrigue. I have a lot of questions, but I don't feel like they're questions I shouldn't be asking.
I agree. I like that too. And you want to hear something funny? I hadn't thought about that till you mention it right now. I kind of just watched it and I was like, okay, whatever comes next, come next. But now that you mention it, it's like epiphany. You're right. They didn't really. I mean, I don't think they're gonna do like a freak of the week type of thing with Smallville, like they did in Smallville. It's probably gonna be like you said, like interaction between the characters, and probably trying to see where they go from there because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know. And then again, the way the first episode ends, you're just like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah, pretty
now
much.
what?
And in the chat, Samoki dude says, "Oh, the Morrison run or Ways run wouldn't fly on TV unless the show pulls them in somehow." Honestly, man, I totally disagree with you. I think the only way that this show flies is if they pull in the Morrison run, because that's the only run with that level of star power. Like Doom Patrol would not have any space in people's heads or in their conversations if it wasn't for Morrison. Let's be real; like they existed. I think not a lot of people really knew much about them in the broader scope of comic book fans or knew much about them. And if they do, it's always the Grant Morrison run. That's always the go-to if anybody asks you to read Doom Patrol. And so I think that it's going to appease the old school fans because it's heralded as the greatest Doom Patrol ever. But also, obviously, that run was able to bring new readers in. So that's what they got to do. And they're already playing with some really high concept in terms of what Grant Morrison was doing. We see it very briefly where Crazy Jane kind of almost goes hothead at one point, and that's straight Grant Morrison. That is straight Grant Morrison, wacky, high concept stuff. So, I think we're definitely going to see flavors of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol, 100%.
I think we have to.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I think I see what he was trying to say, but I agree with you. It has to be part of it. It has to be there. And you also have to remember that it's their own streaming app. They can do a lot. They can, if they want to, they could just take a comic book and make it an episode.
yeah. I mean, they won't do that because obviously
They won't, of course, yeah,
they
but
want to appeal to a couple different audiences, but
exactly.
it's smart. It makes sense I think on every level, and I think Jeff Johns has the sensibilities enough not to go too far with it. And speaking on Jeff Johns, Koala One says, "I've never read Doom Patrol, but I read them in Jeff Johns' Justice League," and
Mm.
to which let's see, Somoki dude says that Johns did them dirty in that. I mean, I don't disagree. Doom Patrol and the New 52 Justice League wasn't great, but I will spot you the fact that there was a lot of editorial control, especially in the first half of the New 52. A lot of editorial control. They really wanted to hit that dark, gritty kind of tonality across the board, and Justice League is that. It is the book that fits across the board. So I think that Jeff Johns didn't have a lot of room to play with. Hence, like the first couple events you have, or um, what's it called? Trinity War, and then you get into Forever Evil. I don't really blame Jeff Johns for that. I think he was just running with what he had and tried to do it, and just you can't watch a baseball game in a blizzard. You know what I'm saying? No matter how good the teams are.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
So definitely, I wouldn't pin Jeff Johns, too far down for that. But what do I know? I'm a lover of most things Jeff Johns. Um, but this show just accomplishes a lot. And so one thing I really want to get into here, we've given a very broad, non-spoilery conversation about our thoughts on this.
Hmm.
What are your expectations moving forward now that we've seen this first episode?
Uh my first my first thing overall, I would love I would love to see more um, special characters showing up.
Mhm.
Um, cameos they call them nowadays.
Mm.
I really enjoy how Titans had them in the show. You know how kind of like how the Arrowverse has the whole episodes when they do collabs. They're not called. What do they call it?
Oh,
Crossovers. Thank
crossover.
you.
Yeah,
Crossovers.
yeah.
I couldn't think of the right word. Sorry about that. Maybe their universe is not big enough yet. But somebody actually mentioned something in the live chat about Constantine, and how cool would it be to get Matt Ryan's Constantine in there? I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but because he's part of the Legends of Tomorrow now.
That,
But I really enjoy his Constantine.
that's the only reason I would say that I don't think it's going to
I
happen.
know it's such a shame. It's such a shame because if the CW decides to grab it first and make something out of it, I would have loved to see Constantine come back in the DC app.
Listen, man. I mean, I've heard good things about this latest season of Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you,
Okay.
I had to force myself through the first season and fell asleep on 3 separate occasions of trying to start the second season.
I believe you.
heard the third season was good. From what I've seen, I think Matt Ryan is being squandered on Legends. I think he should have his own show again. I think the first one was great, but was literally destined to die. They put it on like Friday night at 10 on like NBC or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's the best slot.
It's a niche show with like not a lot of viewership coming into that because it's so small. It's not Batman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you put it on a time slot where it's destined to die, you know. I think the show was great. I loved it. I remember watching it and loving it, and then they cut it out like halfway through the season with a huge cliffhanger, and I was like, why?
Yep.
Like I want to know what's happening here. And then like
I know, I was so mad.
God, man, like without going too far off on that side tangent, God damn, let us get a Constantine show on this app. Let us get it, and they can do it right. They can make it R-rated. They can
I know.
some mofo's throats.
I know.
Do whatever.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They can take so many liberties. Like DC sometimes doesn't use the power that they own all their characters. Look how long it took Marvel to get everything back.
Well, I mean that's the thing too. Is we see that in small doses. Young Justice, they tend to if there's a role that can be filled, they're filling it with a character that exists in the DC universe, in the DC pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, no matter how small it is. And I was like, I think that's great. Whatever other comments I might have to say on Young Justice, that is a great, world building thing to be doing. And not to mention, it brings some sort of viewership in. Every character is someone's favorite character. So, it's exciting. It's really exciting to see what they could be doing, especially now that they have this app. I know.
I think that's one of the things that gets me the most excited, the possibilities. Like, not even knowing what tomorrow could bring.
I get a little bit afraid just because of how reactive Warner Brothers and DC is. Like, I really hope that like their undoubtable lack of early subscriptions, I hope that doesn't cause them to start to tower down with worse content or to even like stop. I hope that they realize that this is an investment and that you need to start getting strong word of mouth to get people to buy it. I remember when it launched, frankly, there wasn't a lot. There really wasn't a lot to it. There were some hidden gems for comic book stories like James Robinson's Starman and like the first or the original Batman the Animated Series, which was obviously fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you're paying $8 a month, there are a lot of other competitors out there. And now I think that they're starting to really build the comic book library. We have technically our third show coming out, even though Young Justice is on a break, which I think it was foolish to have a whole 3 weeks between the end of or the mid-season finale of Young Justice and Doom Patrol. I think 2 weeks at max in between if you're gonna line shows up like that, personally.
I wonder if they're behind producing or if they're just,
I feel like this is probably their original schedule, knowing them. But I
think so? All right.
I honestly hope that like as soon as Doom Patrol's done, I hope we get Young Justice back immediately. Like, I feel like every single week. Actually, no, fuck the 2 week comment. We're paying for original content. I think we should have something new every single week. Like
kind of like tie-ins in Doom Patrol.
Yeah, like even if it's one episode, there should be something. So like, I think as soon as Doom Patrol ends, we should get back to finish the season of Young Justice, and then when that's done, we get Swamp Thing. And then when that's done, we get the Harley Quinn thing or whatever, like
Hmm.
we're paying you for this, I don't think, honestly, I feel like DC probably should have even waited until they had more content prepared before they released the app. And I think that they would have gotten far better word of mouth, and I think that more people would have signed up.
I agree. I mean, they had a great campaign at NYCC. I
Oh
think a lot of people, because of that, they signed up because they did the whole, if you show that you signed up for it, you get the goodie bag and all of that stuff. But how many people kept it, you know? And
yeah,
I think it was because at that time they didn't have that pull yet. Um, I guarantee you, after this year's Comic Con, San Diego and New York, they're gonna probably
let's
right up.
hope. Let's hope, because I know a lot of people that are honestly, again, comes with the problem of not having original content every single week because we have the random breaks. But I know a lot of people that are waiting for them to get a bigger gallery for people to binge watch. They want a bigger archive of original content that they can't find anywhere else. So, and I don't necessarily blame them. For me, like, I'm in it obviously because I'm a huge fan. That's a big part of my
Yeah,
life. B, I'm a content creator, so I review this stuff, I go over this stuff. And C, I'm also in it for the free well, not free, I'm paying for them, but the comics within the app.
yeah.
But on the topic of
No,
other
I
shows,
hear you.
Samoki Dude says he hopes that they get Animal Man and Hellblazer, please. He can't wait for Swamp Thing. Also, that better be effing amazing. I you know I have high hopes for Swamp Thing. James Wan, I'm pretty sure, is producing it, and horror is his thing. Like, if I'm not reading I mean, Alan Moore's was a little bit more like mystic than horror. There were definitely some horror elements, but I think that they're going to hit it off right as long as they have the right people in the job. In terms of Animal Man, I think that the biggest thing you'll ever see from Animal Man is either a cameo on one of these shows or potentially maybe like more animated shorts, because DC used to do that. Like, there was this string in time where like they weren't really doing a lot of television or film, so they did a bunch of like random animated shorts throughout the internet. I think that's the most you're probably going to see of Animal Man. To be honest, he's not a super high in demand character, and uh, people said that they were crazy for making a Doom Patrol show. I think it'd be even crazier to make an Animal Man show. As much as it would be cool if they had the right people on it, you got to think about the marketing and who they're going to be appealing to.
Yeah, that's a problem. That would be cool. To be honest with you, I have not read much of Animal Man. I've seen him here and there. I don't know much, so I wouldn't be able to agree or disagree.
Mm.
But any time any of these larger than life characters can get a chance at the silver screen or whatever, it's a huge win for everybody, for us, um, geeks, whatever you want to call us, collectors. It's huge. It's huge, and we live. And I've told you this before. I think we
Mhm.
live in such a good time where all of this stuff is just booming, and I love it. I'm very happy to be alive in this time.
Yeah, actually, Samoki Dude came up with some reading material for you in terms of Animal Man. He goes, Delano, Lemire, and Morrison's run. Actually, yeah, Jamie Delano actually wrote the first ever Hellblazer for a while. He wrote Hellblazer for. Again, let me clarify. Alan Moore created John Constantine within a Swamp Thing title, but he wrote the first ever self-titled Hellblazer book for John Constantine. So yeah, I didn't even know that Delano did Animal Man. I know that Lemire had a run during the New 52. That's pretty well known, but um,
Hmm.
there
I
you go.
see that Lemire, those Morrison's runs, get those. Is that New 52? Some Okie dude.
Lemire was New 52. Morrison,
That's all New 52.
probably, again, funny we bring up Morrison. He did the fourth wall breaking, or yeah, fourth wall breaking before Deadpool did fourth wall breaking, as far as I'm aware. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think he was the original to do that with Animal Man. So yeah, I mean, I haven't read them. I haven't read any of it. Frankly, I feel like especially doing the whole YouTube thing, I have so many like superhero comics to catch up on that I'm always constantly
Yeah.
pull that around, and I've been trying to get more into reading novels and such. So,
Yeah, it happens, dude. I still haven't finished Young Justice, man. I told
but
you I haven't got around to it,
yeah,
and
no,
I'm behind on a lot of comic books too.
and big thanks to Samoki Dude. That's some awesome reading recommendations. I'm sure both of us will be checking that out sometime in the future.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
But yeah, all in all, I think that this show accomplishes everything it needs to do, and I give it a lot more credit because I think the things that this show had to accomplish were a lot more difficult than anything, for example, that Titans needed to ever
Oh
accomplish.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
the way that we're I guess following the characters throughout the plot of the story and each of their individual narratives that are going to be kind of um, splintering themselves off from whatever the main plot is and assumably tying back together towards the end of the season. You know, these characters are quirky and interesting. The interactions between them were wild and out of this world, but also, if you look
It was
past
epic, dude. It was
it,
epic.
it's very deep. You can see a little bit of this intimacy between them because they're longing to feel that normalcy and that humanity, and they're all bonded through tragedy. And that's even consistent with Titans. All those characters are bonded through tragedy. But I think what makes this almost better than Titans is that it's tragedy through a much more intricate lens, because with Titans it's very overt, right? Like
Hmm.
their bonding through tragedy is very overt, but these characters almost make you forget how tragic they are in a way sometimes.
Yeah,
And then they again the, bring in that strength that this show has shown via the first episode, in that they can contrast that really well. And you get these deeply emotional moments, and next minute you're laughing and you're crying out of laughter.
yeah, yeah. It's see, I agree with you on the whole Titans versus Doom Patrol as far as setting the precedent, because Titans has so much things that you can compare it to.
Mhm.
You know, it's got many more runs than Doom Patrol. It's got the Teen Titans TV show, which is a freaking classic.
Mhm.
It's got also a few DC animated movies. They did the Judas Contract. They did Teen Titans with Justice League.
They did that.
So
Remember
people,
that Teen Titans, like when they went to Japan, like with the
oh
animated.
yeah, and then Trouble in Tokyo, Trouble in
Yep.
Tokyo, I think it was called. They did, so there's so much that people can mirror to, and they be like, wait, that's not like this, that's not like that. So Doom Patrol is, it's setting that flag down and being like, this is what's gonna be like. There's nothing to compare us to, and that's good. That's why it's so good that they took a chance on it, on Doom Patrol. Like, honestly, if you would have told me, they're gonna make a show about Doom Patrol, and I would have said, get out.
Yep.
It's like but they took the shot and it works. It
I,
just works.
I'm with you. When they first announced Doom Patrol, I was like, okay, like I said
Yeah,
earlier, it's really easy to mess up,
why not?
so they're probably gonna mess it up. And then with Titans, I was like, well, shit, Jeff Johns is one of the producers and one of the writers, and he has, like, honestly, for me, potentially my favorite Teen Titans run of all time. I love it. I absolutely love his Teen Titans run. So I was like, this has got to be a home run. And while the show was good, was not a home run, right? Like, it wasn't perfect,
Mm-hmm.
had its issues. This
Mm-hmm.
show, man, again, it's only the first episode, and we gave Titans a lot of time, but it was just a solid first at bat for this show. And between
It
that,
was.
and even looking back into Titans episode 4 where they introduced the Doom Patrol, this was even better than that, man. So for you, if you had to give this episode a rating out of 10 in our normal fashion as we do, what do you think you would give this?
See, originally I was thinking of like an 8.5, but after this discussion, after really like dissecting it, I'm gonna push it, man. I'm gonna do a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd even give it
I'm
like
doing it.
I'd give it like a 9.2 out of
There you
10.
go.
It's
I
a
and
solid.
and the only reason why I lost the point was because a couple very tiny things, like the CGI bothered me a couple of times, and that's pretty much it. Like that, and maybe it was too short. There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I wanted more.
I think in terms of storytelling and character, they were just
Oh,
firing on
fantastic!
cylinders. The
10 out of 10. If we're only doing that, 10 out of 10.
yeah, the visual, auditory, and emotional storytelling that they're pulling at here, I think was excellent.
It was.
I think, again, far better than it had any business being. So, if you guys haven't watched it yet, or are on the fence about like getting the service to watch it, watch it. It's worth it, honestly.
Yeah.
And again, now that they have a lot more stuff now than they
Yeah.
launch. I think it's worth. I think the service is worth the money, especially if you're a comic book fan or someone who wants to get into comics because there are all these curated, storylines, and they even do it sometimes by like writer, so you can get in
Yeah,
there.
the filter system is really good. I enjoy. I was playing with it actually earlier today because I was looking for some stories. And not only that, but they have so many shows that have become like stamp of DC comic book shows. Like if you never saw The Adventures of Lois and Clark, or you started watching it back in the day and you never got to finish it, it's there. If you want to watch the original George Reeve run of Superman, it's there. If you want to watch,
You know what I love that gets me really excited because I used to love this as a kid,
uh-huh.
and I've been getting really into old school animation and like the
Okay.
art style, and just how they have the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons, man.
Yes, they do. Yes,
Like
they do.
I remember
Yes, they do.
I remember as a kid getting sick as a kid and watching those reruns on like TV Land and stuff
Yes,
when I
yes,
was
yes.
home from school. God, man, like they have some good and obviously Batman the animated series.
Yep, yep.
Oh
Yeah, I
man,
love Batman the Animated Series. I love Superman the Animated Series. Justice League, get out of town. Justice League Unlimited,
yeah.
forget about it. Like
I'm,
this
I'm
is
waiting for
stuff
them.
that.
I'm waiting for them to put Smallville on this service. Like
Dude, oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was just gonna be my next point. If they get Smallville in there, which they should have no issues with,
Mhm.
if you unless the CW is like Warner Brothers back in the day, so I don't think so. But
Yeah,
anyway, semantics. But
I
if
think it
they
probably
are
has to do with.
able,
I think it probably has to do with whatever streaming contract they have with Hulu. That,
exactly,
that's why we're
exactly.
not getting the CW shows
Yep,
on the app because Netflix has the rights to stream
yep.
you know already done episodes. So
Yeah, it's but again, the possibilities are endless. But if they get Smallville in there, dude, oh man.
yeah,
But oh, you know what's in there? There's that the lost pilot of Aquaman, where the I saw that. It was what?
they have some really good and they have like these
Yeah.
crazy like documentaries and stuff that I never
Oh
knew
yeah.
existed.
Have you ever seen Look Up in the Sky: The Amazing Story of Superman?
No,
Dude, watch it. It's amazing. I mean, nowadays it may be a little taboo because Kevin Spacey narrates it, but look past that. Just watch the damn thing because it
listen,
came around the time the Superman Returns was coming out. So
yeah,
he played Lex Luthor. So because of that, he was the narrator. But the way they portrayed the story of Superman, it's amazing,
yeah, but
amazing.
I'll say this on Kevin Spacey: what he did was absolutely terrible and
Hmm.
unforgivable.
Hmm.
God damn, like the guy's still a good actor. Like the
100%.
guy's still an excellent actor.
Hmm.
So I try not to let that deter me from watching his stuff. And
Good, good. Then if you ever get a chance, it's about an hour long documentary. I think you will enjoy the heck out of it, man.
yeah,
It goes through the struggles and as a Superman fan, like Superman is my favorite superhero, my favorite story of all time.
mm,
And to hear the story again from the beginning of how Joe Hughes and Jerry Siegel struggled to get this piece of paper, and now it's such a larger than life character.
oh yeah,
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's a
yeah.
beautiful story.
I mean, it,
It's
it
amazing.
started it started the industry. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like, God, if I could freaking move this camera around my desk, like my office space,
Uh-huh.
I just have stacks of comic books.
Nice.
Freaking,
Nice.
freaking everywhere. Like even down here, you guys are like, I'm a mess. My life is a mess. But like Superman
That's
started it
awesome.
all. I am a Batman guy, but Superman started it all. So
Yeah, man. It's a lot of fun to go back and watch all that stuff. Like I said, you know, it'd be cool if they put that Lost Wonder Woman pilot that never aired,
oh man,
the one with the girl from Supernatural. I'm forgetting her name. Well, her. She was supposed to play her, but I mean, they got those liberties to do all of that. It's awesome.
there's a lot of
Uh,
good quirky
I
stuff.
love it. I love it.
Like they have those animated shorts I was mentioning too, so it's absolutely worth it. And then some okie dude, I think Jeff Johns is the new Grant Morrison minus the weirdness and occultism. All
Yep, I agree. I just want to address something real quick. Some Okie dude is asking me if I don't like Justice League or Unlimited. No, 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 no. Sorry if you misunderstood that. I love Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Those are like my top shows. Maybe I said it wrong when I said it, but no, I love it. It's got some of my favorite Superman monologue ever It's from an episode, the world made of cardboard. I think you guys know exactly
Yeah.
what I'm talking. When he just goes ham
On
on
Darkseid.
Darkseid.
Yep.
Oh my god, seeing my man just lose control was a beautiful thing.
Or just and it's not even
As
lose
weird as that
control.
sounds.
The thing is, it's not even lose control. He just lets himself
Yeah,
go.
that's it. And you put yourself in his shoes. You're like, wow, this man can really kill you with a bad handshake. Like if he flicks you wrong, if he gives you like an ear flick, your brain can fly off. But
Yeah.
he has to learn to control himself. Every handshake, everything. It's like he lives in a world made of cardboard. And
Yeah.
that is one of those speeches that
It's a beautiful thing, man. One of these days we'll have to do an entire conversation on all the animated shows. I think that'd
I'm
be.
in. I'm
But
in. I'm in.
again, in terms of the Grant Morrison being the new, or Jeff Johns being the new Grant Morrison, just without the weirdness and occultism, I think, with all due respect, I think you discount that statement there because the weirdness and occultism is what makes Grant Morrison Grant Morrison. So you're like, well, what is the thing that they have in common? They're both great writers, so it's almost like this great writer is also this great writer who's also this great writer without the thing that makes them different.
Yep.
I can agree with you in the fact that they're both two of the greatest comic book writers and two of the greatest storytellers who will ever exist, and they've made their mark, and they both have a very clear love and passion for the universes and the continuities that they're playing in. But in terms of that, I think they're two very, very different writers in how they embrace the characters and how they break story. But I can agree in the fact that they're both fantastic. Although I can't agree with the fact that Jeff Johns is the new Grant Morrison. But again, both spectacular writers. But we've kind of I think we're pretty much running the course for this episode. We've talked a lot. I think we've talked about as much as we can without giving any spoilers. I'm actually
Oh yeah. Oh,
probably going to
trust me, I had to bite my tongue a couple of times just because we both seen it, and I
yeah,
wish we could have a spoilers talk so we could just go. But
yeah,
no. I always will respect the fact that people cannot watch it right away or they're waiting to watch it. And just if you get around to doing it, do it, watch it. Same thing with Titans if you haven't done so yet.
yeah.
It's
Now
one of
you
those
have an
things that you have to
you
watch.
have an entire show now that you can binge. So
Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people don't like waiting for episodes because now with the modern era with Netflix and everything, you can just watch everything. But I'm okay with it. I grew up in the era where I had to wait a whole episode. Sometimes syndication, dude, I had to wait months.
yeah,
I'm not even kidding because I grew up in Ecuador. And, so sometimes, like for wrestling, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I couldn't watch a pay per view or something, so I would catch it the next month when they aired it for free.
mm,
So I'm used to that kind of stuff. But if now you have no excuse, you can binge watch the whole thing. Sit down, enjoy it, grab some popcorn, grab your loved one. Just be careful because it's kind of R-rated, so just don't let it be a kid. If if it's a kid, just kind of like, true, you're gonna have to explain what a one night stand is. That's all I'm gonna say. But
from both from Titans and Doom Patrol.
oh yeah, from Doom Patrol, you're gonna have to explain what getting it on with the nanny means. Anyways, but yeah, man. But I've said pretty much everything that I have to say.
Yeah.
Some Okie dude, thank you so much for subscribing, man. I just saw that. Don't think it's gone unnoticed. I want to personally thank you right now. You're the best, man. Thank you for giving me a chance.
Yeah, with that being said, folks, if you're not already, link in the description below. Go subscribe down to the Geek Fortress. You will find my ugly mug over there on a couple random episodes talking about Titans and other things. This guy's I've been trying to like filter myself and not swear as much, but I'm gonna break it for a second. This guy's fucking awesome.
Oh, stop.
He's a joy to
Stop
chat.
it.
He brings an energy and a vibrance to his videos that is unlike pretty much everyone else on the internet. So go subscribe to his channel. Go let him know. Be like, hey, Dark Knight sent me. You're the fucking boy.
Dude, I really appreciate that a lot, man. It means the world to me that that you think that much of me, and I appreciate it. And I just love making people smile. I love making people have a good time. We live in a world where every smile counts. So
Yeah.
if I can bring you one smile, guess what? Geek on and rock on, my brother.
I shit you guys not. This guy's the most positive guy on the internet. He's the most positive guy on the internet. I think I texted him. He was like, "Yeah, I'm running a little bit late." I was like, "That's cool, man." He just goes, "Epic!" Exclamation point. Like, this guy knows how to make me like. I was coming home from work, and he set me up to get ready for this. Man.
I'm
So
hyped. Let's do it.
Go
team.
click that link in the description below. We're going to be collaborating, you know, back and forth. I think on my channel alone, this is the third discussion video we've done together.
I believe
And
so. Yeah.
I think how many Titans reviews did we do on your channel?
I think we did up to 7 back and forth. So I think you did 4 and I did 3, or vice versa.
Something like
I
that.
don't recall.
Yeah,
Something like that. But
we'll be going back and forth for time to come. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe we do like discussion videos on like the DC shows and the animated shows. Like maybe that.
Dude, I sign me in right now. Just put my name on it.
Yeah, and
Put up. I'm in.
Obviously, if you guys enjoyed this conversation, you enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like. Every little bit helps so that we know that what we're doing is something that you're enjoying. If
Hell
you're
yeah.
watching this later as a recording, leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of this first episode. And if you haven't seen it, because obviously this is spoiler free.
Yes. Please let Dark Knight Nation how epic his hair looks right now, because I've been looking at those bangs, man, and I'm like, damn, boy, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Let us know. Let us know everything.
This is me getting I like got out of the shower.
No, dude, no worries, no worries. I dig it. I dig the bangs. I'm in. It's awesome.
I appreciate the love of my bangs.
No, dude, hey man, I love it. I gotta be honest, bro. I gotta be honest. But no, all jokes aside, dude, you're an awesome guy. You know, since day one, I've told you, and I think we do a great job when we collab, and I think we have fun. That's the most important thing, to have fun and to enjoy the things that we all love together. Finding that, it's amazing. That's why love comics, love everything. Support your local comic book store. Support the local small YouTubers, as YouTube calls us. Just show love, man. It's all about that. That's it.
For sure. If you guys haven't already, go check out Lewis. He's been putting up a lot of stuff about Resident Evil 2 lately. If you're big into that, definitely make sure you go get all of your needs for that type of content over there. On my end, I did a review last week of Young Justice #1 and The Invaders #1. And just to let you know, every time we do a comic book review on my channel, there will always be an option to win anywhere from 1 to potentially 2 or even 3 free digital comics. So make sure you guys check that out. Like this video if you enjoyed it. If you enjoy what we're doing, go check Lewis out, subscribe to him, and let us know in the comments what you thought of the Doom Patrol's pilot episode, what you're expecting from the series going forward. Join the conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending an hour of your time with us tonight. It's a Sunday night. You could have been getting ready for something. Maybe you are and you're listening to us anyways. But we really appreciate you guys joining us and being involved and talking to us tonight. So thank you so much. Obviously,
Ditto. Thank you, guys.
Obviously, thanks again to Lewis for coming on, chatting with me, wasting an hour of his time when he's such a busy man.
Oh, please, waste. This is like the high of my Sunday. I tell you, man.
Again, let's I'm breaking the fourth wall, totally aware of my blabbery at the end of videos. Thank you guys so much, and we will catch you guys next time on the videos between Dark Knight Nation and the Geek Fortress. Don't forget to subscribe below to the Dark Knight Nation and to the Geek Fortress via the link in the description. You guys have a great night. This is Dark Knight Nation signing out.
Peace.